This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at ipvanish.com/audio.
No. 9 to noon.
Yeah. Ben Leber at Nacho Leber via X Twin Cities Live, weekdays 3 to 4:30 on Channel 5. That would include today. And Ben Leber, former linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings, one of the analysts for the vast and ever-expanding Minnesota Vikings radio network, joins us in the 651 Carpets Plus studios right now. Good morning, beloved Nacho. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How you doing?
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Flores defense, I'm sure as you know, either you've seen it or you followed it or you call somebody and you get all the answers. That's how Nachito can roll if he's so inclined, is stealing the show at camp. Correct me if I'm wrong here. It's not unusual for a defense to have some domination in the early stages of a training camp, right?
Correct. Yes. That's usually how it goes.
Yeah. Is it about 85-90% of the time?
I feel like that's probably a pretty strong, accurate number. Yeah.
Okay. So now, with that said, with either what you've seen, been part of, or have followed here, does it bug offensive coaches when all they hear and see and read is that the defense is stealing the show?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, first of all, if you really want to believe all the offensive coaches and all the coaches in the league in college and professional sports, they don't pay attention to the news. You know, They say,
yeah, right.
That's neither here nor there. That's not what's going on here internally in the facility. That's all we're concerned with. You know that they feel a little bit of that. Yeah. Maybe not every article, not maybe every word, but news certainly gets back to them in some sort of way. I don't think, especially during the early parts of training camp. No, I don't think they care. I mean, they know the whys. They understand that they're trying to do certain things. They understand in certain drills that they're trying to get, specifically target this read or this deal. And sometimes they get got by the defense. Mm-hmm. I would say overall, in my experience, everything is slanted towards the offense in practice. So,
really?
Yeah. The thing is, like,
I would think it would be opposite because the offense is trying to move it. Defense kind of has an idea of what's coming.
There are certain drills, especially in move the ball periods, where they don't know. We don't know what they're doing. They don't know what we're doing. But a lot of times, again, only in my experience, for most of the team drills, the offense knows what coverage we're supposed to be in. And they only get mad. They only get mad. They get really upset when we do something off script because it throws them off. And we're like, well, wait a minute, but we don't know what you guys are doing.
Wow.
We're always playing a step behind.
Yeah, I mean, what are we betting on this? I mean, honestly, it sounds like there's a bet at stake or something.
No, they look at it as like we need to control certain elements of practice for our quarterbacks and for recognition.
Yeah.
And it's like, we need to know on the script that we're going to put this play in. We want to see what you guys look like in cover 2. So give us a cover 2 thing. We want to see what this play looks like with a cover 1 situation or a zone blitz situation where you get a single high defense. So they do want to practice those things so they can go through it with their quarterbacks and they can have all that stuff. But we're not told it's a screen pass. We're not told it's an outside run. We're not told all that stuff.
Right.
So in these points for me as a former player, I'm like,
that's awesome.
I'm
man.
like, good for the defense.
Yeah. Well, that's
good for them.
Why I say it's awesome because like this is age old with me, and I don't even think I brought it up. Who cares? Probably boring, but it happened the other day. The defense is at such a disadvantage when in training camp the offense runs a screen. Because there's a certain level of physicality that's required to get through the trash, including knocking people over. But there's a level of contact that's permissible because you don't want people to get hurt and stuff like that. So there are plays where it's kind of like, the defense is definitely at a disadvantage here trying to get through pulling offensive lineman guy or tight end or wide receiver on a bubble screen or whatever. So I can understand that. That makes it tough.
I will say this much about the real versus the not real and these kind of false narratives. It happens a lot, and I don't blame anybody on the outside because you just don't know and understand really how it works. And that's fine. And it is entertainment, and especially for training camp when you have the fans out there and you have all the beat writers out there, they might comment on a defensive player having he had a really bad one-on-one sesh. So-and-so did not look good in one-on-ones against Justin or Addison or whatever. And if you watch those actual reps where that defensive player didn't play very well, that cornerback, usually it's a corner or safety. Like what you neglect in a one-on-one situation is like, where's all the help? Like there's never a case unless you are a true shutdown corner. Mm-hmm. But even in that case, you have leverage.
Yeah.
And you have help. So you're never just like, hey, you're going to be out on that island. Yeah. Hey, Leber, go take Hawkinson. We're going to split him out.
That's great.
And then, you know what? We're not ever going to give you any help. We're not going to give you inside linebacker plug help.
Well, help also includes, and by the way, don't bust him up at the line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, we can't be physical right now because the NFLPA permits us from actually getting our hands on.
So that's how fights happen, though. Because if you're sitting there, you're on defense, you're feeling like you're a pawn. And you've done everything you can you identify something. It's like, but I actually have to sit here in this zone. I can't attack this situation. That would drive me insane.
Well, it drives you crazy when the thing is, when the offensive players, they start feeling themselves a little bit. They're feeling themselves.
They're jawing at you.
Yeah, they're jawing at you. They're chirping at you. You can't cover me, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, we're supposed to, in this defense, have an inside safety helper. I'm outside leverage. So you caught an inside slant. Wow, congratulations. You ran away from my leverage to an open space. Wow. And by the way, there's no pass rush. Wow. So the quarterback held onto the ball for 7 seconds, and you're bragging that you beat me on that rep.
Oh, wow.
Get the bleep out of here. And
that's how fight starts.
And that's how, and again, on day one, fine, whatever. You get your rep. I know the DB coach knows. Everybody on the defense knows that you didn't win that rep. Mm-hmm. But by day 12, if that same guy's talking trash, words can be exchanged. Yeah. And frustrations can boil over.
Right. Because of all of that, plus bodies and minds are getting beaten down, which is good now.
You're getting tired.
Yeah, getting tired, getting frustrated. You come in from practice, you look at your phone, you got some, let's say, but terrorism or but babe terrorism. So then now that's on your mind.
Oh, yeah. Then, you throw in all the personal distractions, too, of just life,
Yeah. It's 10 minutes before practice. I need 15 passes. They need to be on the field. Can you get them for me, Ben? They got 8 minutes to settle that, But babe, speaking of corners, I'm sensing McGlothern and Okuda are in a big-time battle for the third corner spot. What do you think about all that, if it's accurate?
I think it's great. I think it's awesome. If Nudie can go out there and battle a guy that has a little bit of name cachet in Okuda, and for us to be sitting here right now on July 31st, at 9:45 discussing the battle and competition at corner?
Or 10:15. You're tired. You're beaten down.
Why is my computer still on 9:45? It doesn't. What is happening here?
Well, let me reset while you reset your computer.
It is the 31st of July, correct?
You got that part right.
Yeah.
legit for the third corner, for a cat that was on the practice squad and just trying to find his way. I guess this would be news to me in some respects. I hadn't envisioned it like that. Like legit, like McGlothern, I mean, potentially puncher's chance to be that third guy.
So I'm not, this is my opinion. It has some steam behind it, but it's not a proclamation that, whoa, Jeff Okudah has a lot of ground to make up catching Dwight McGlothern.
No, I wouldn't look at it as a prediction, but that's kind of the vibe with how he's performed thus far in camp.
That's how I see it. That's how I see it.
Okay.
And he's out there a lot, and Okudah's out there a lot too. I think it's a big time battle. The one being left in the wake of a keen turn of metaphorical speed, and this is Mekhi Blackmon. But there's still, it's the big, giant, the grandiose takes that throw blankets over things. Always happen in the first week. And in the first week where they've been in pads for 2 days, I mean, you got to get, how far into this do you said like 12 practices, right?
Well, I just threw that number
No,
out.
I like that.
Yeah.
But you know what? With the way things legitimately are developing early in camp, where McCarthy is new, it'll be his first regular season game, 9 to noon as learned, September 8th. So there are going to be moguls along the way. And oh, by the way, he's without Jefferson. So the coverage and the defense Flores and those guys can play is different than if Justin Jefferson was out there with Addison and Hawkinson to a certain extent, I would imagine. So there are some things that they have to get through offensively that may not necessarily be the case in a week and change. Now we go to Monday. Let's fast forward to Monday. We have the stadium practice, the night practice.
The night practice,
yeah. TCO Stadium. It's going to be packed. And people like offense. The oohs and the ahs at these night practices generally take place when something big has happened offensively. What happened? I mean, Monday night? They gotta make some pass plays that have some yak. Or, like, how do you handle that? I mean, because Kevin never would say to Flores, this 18th corner on the roster, I got Addison here, just put him on him, okay? He's going to make a double, just let it happen so we can get some oohs and ahs. That never, ever, 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 ever would that happen. So just Monday night, I just hope things offensively are, maybe showing a little more explosiveness and fewer interceptions and things like that Monday. Last thing you want is to have a home night practice and have the fans boo. They're not going to be booing.
They're not going to be
They're
booing.
going to be nooing for nudie.
Yeah. They won't be booing. I think it'll be equal parts performative because let's give the fans what they want. There'll be some big plays. There'll at least be some attempts at some big shots.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. I don't think that they're not going to stack the deck and say, all right, hey, we're going to throw deep here. Let's get some lesser known player on this guy just so we can have a higher chance of success.
Right.
I just think that they're just going to dial up some bigger shots just to show off a little bit of the arm, a little bit of this offense. These night practices always very fun. I can't wait to watch all the one-on-one battles. I hope for all the people that go out there, and I think I said the same thing last year, is like really try to identify where, especially early in the practice before they get into the team periods, where's the pass rush one-on-one? Where are the outside linebackers and defensive ends and defensive line versus the offensive line and the tight ends? Where are they going to be? Find them. Find that quadrant of the field that they're going to be in and try to watch that because that to me is really, really compelling. You really get a chance to see individual performances. It's mano-a-mano, one-on-one. I think it's more fun to watch that than maybe some of the wide receivers and DBs.
Jordan Mason, the running back Jordan Mason, he at least at this stage of training camp, he has some stud to him. It's just like when you got Hal eyeballing a receiver and McGlothern picks it off and he would have gone 85 to the house. McCarthy leading guys too far, not handling the wind the right way. The pressure is immense, and there have been times that he feels it for sure. So he will grow through that. But it's interesting that you'll go about 5, 10, 15 minutes of a practice watching these drills. And then all of a sudden, there'll be a shotgun set, Mason, offset left of McCarthy, got enough wide receivers to force nickel, and they'll give it to Mason. And like Fries and O'Neal will push man back 5 yards, and there goes Mason, and it would have been 15 or 20. It just still fascinates me how Jordan Mason was attained for what he was attained for. And, after chatting with some people yesterday, that there have been two things that I've learned the last couple of days, NFL related. One is with Baker Mayfield. Okay. Baker Mayfield takes a $30 million guaranteed deal into 2026. Baker absolutely could have haggled, could have held in. I don't know what he could have done, but he could have gotten probably more and longer. But in listening to his quotes and seeing his press conference after they announced the deal and everything, he paraphrasing basically was like, I've made a lot of money. I'm cool. I like this team. And I like, he didn't mention names, but we got guys here with stuff coming up, and we're going to need money for it. I'm cool. I'm good taking this right here, instead of nitpicking and going back and forth to squeeze an extra 8 to 12 out of somebody for 1 year. Now, he may get an extension down the road.
Sure. That
may change this up a little bit. But for now, I found it to be genuine and authentic, that he's like, I've made a ton of cash. Okay. Yeah. I want to get to the Super Bowl, man. Bowles knows what he's doing. We got some good people here, and I've bounced around a lot of different places. I feel like I found a home. What price that? So that is so refreshing and flies in the face of how so many people handle their business, specifically in pro sports. There's that. Yes. And yesterday, I'm chatting with somebody about Jordan Mason and about that deal and what the Vikings gave up to get Jordan Mason. Now, we ain't making Jordan Mason sound like a combo between Roger Craig and Tom Rathman. However, he's going to complement Aaron Jones. Jordan Mason can play.
Yeah, he could be a starter on a few teams out there.
And the more you watch him attempt to catch passes, you can tell that catching passes probably ain't his thing. It's got that Adrian Peterson mechanical thing to it with just the bobbles and then the head turn in the screen. Just, he'll get better at it.
It's just slow right now.
But with Mason, the thing that just was refreshing to me, chatting with somebody yesterday, is, like when this thing went down, you and we were kind of like, wow. I mean, that's, he's better than kind of like what was given up. Okay, we know Isaac Guerrero, second-year guy, they like a lot. Guerrero catches extremely well. McCaffrey catches extremely well. Not the first person lost to a team in a deal because they got a younger guy who has a certain facet of a skill set that is better than Jordan's, even though he may not be better overall than Jordan right now. So here's what was refreshing to me. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah started his National Football League career with San Francisco, and there still are key people within that front office who are there that were there with Kwesi. And, Kwesi's cool, man. I mean, Kwesi, you can tell, doesn't burn bridges. And I honestly believe that there could have been X amount of teams in on Jordan Mason, but the Niners gave the Vikings like first crack. And I think Kwesi's equity with that team had something to do with it. And I'm not saying that there are better deals that could have been had, certainly similar, but they really just kind of eliminated a lot of people from the chat and basically said, let's just do this cut and dry. You give us this, we'll give you him, move on. That just never happens. Everybody's always playing somebody against somebody. And, maybe this is the maximum that could have been gotten for Jordan Mason. The Niners are not going to give away a good player to an NFC team just because they like somebody and in the analytics department, he really, really helped shape it or whatever. But it's not as far removed from that, I don't believe, as some people would think. I thought that was kind of cool,
Boy, I mean, there's a lot going on there. If all that is true, that just means that
that's my vibe. I got no reporting on it.
But if that's the vibe, then Mason must be a really, a hell of a teammate and just a hell of a guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't heard anything contrary to that. I just haven't heard anybody gushing over him as well. But if that's the case, that means John Lynch has got to love you.
Yeah.
Shanahan's got to love you. The people that were there when Kwesi was there, they got to obviously still love you.
Yeah.
Like the people that the powers to be have to go to his agent and say, we're going to we want to do what's best for him.
Yeah.
I think
that's a great point.
That's
absolutely what happened.
Having this game have so many examples of using players like nameless, faceless commodities that are bought and sold and traded. And it does feel very impersonal. And it feels very businesslike. And we all understand that it is businesslike. It would be great if this is the vibe, then there is a little bit of humanity out there. And that teams will look at these players as people that not only can provide for the bottom line of this football team as a business and help win championships, but also at the same time, they don't forget the fact that, hey, you do right by us. You play the game the right way. You're great in the locker room. You're great for this organization. We're going to do what we think is best for you. Yeah. And if that means not only just going to a guy in another team that we think from a Kwesi standpoint that is going to take care of you as well, but we're also want you to set you up for success in that system.
Yeah.
If they feel like this system is what's best for him versus, the Commanders situation or another team situation, maybe Houston situation. Hey, we've got ties to that guy down there too.
Yeah.
But you know what? We don't think that you're going to fit. You're not going to be happy in that system.
Yeah.
You're going to be much happier in KOC's system.
And with Mason here, now it happened months ago, Joe Mixon, pup list, whatever it's called, probably won't play the first game or so. He goes down. Tristan Wirfs, they were nursing left tackle for the Buccaneers. They were nursing along some things. Then finally we're just like, you know what? He's probably going to miss the first 3 games. It's I don't believe in luck, but nevertheless, the happenstance or the fortune that you faced by getting school, who the Bucs probably really wish they had right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's Quessenberry good, but you can use him 3 or 4 games. And Houston with DeMeco Ryans, how much would they love to call San Francisco right now and say, you got Garendo and he can catch it, and I know you like him. Can we get Jordan?
Yeah.
So just the timing and the way things worked out like this, I thought was really cool. That's Ben Leber at Nacho Leber via Twitter. And when we return, a J.J. McCarthy-related talker, and it's also HOF weekend for one of Ben's former teammates, Jared Allen. Those topics and much more when 9 to noon continues on.
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home, and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at ipvanish.com/audio.
KFAN.
P.A. Leber.
Ben Leber, beloved Ben at Nacho Leber. Watch him on TV today, 3 to 4:30, Channel 5. TCL, they do a really good job with Twin Cities Live, and you can see why at 3 o'clock today on Channel 5. J.J. McCarthy says he's not discouraged how things are going because he's learning every single day. I can't imagine how difficult that process is. You never played quarterback at this level, so therefore, you've been against it, so you can kind of imagine what it's like. But I mean, getting to the 10 of 10 on what he's going through right now, that's impossible for most, if not all of us. He's new, doesn't have Jefferson, and Flores D is like going 85 Bears on it right now. I just wonder how mentally tough this is for McCarthy right now.
Oh my gosh, he's got to be swimming right now. But the thing is, like, he's even talked about how this is great for him.
Yeah.
He understands the magnitude of the education that he's getting right now, trial by fire in against this B-flow defense, when he's trying to figure out the timing and the rhythm of his own offense, his new offensive lineman. now having Justin Jefferson out of the lineup and moving guys around, getting to know some of these, third and fourth wide receivers that are going to get a lot more playing time, all of these things. And then you have to figure out, okay, what defense are they in? They got a lot of moving parts. They've got safeties everywhere. They've got this guy on the line, that guy back. And then all of a sudden, when you think that you have everything figured out pre-snap, then the ball snaps, and then Javon is beating the guard in the interior and getting right in your face. And then all of a sudden, now you've got abort plan A. You quickly go to plan B.
Wow.
Try to figure out what's going on. Scramble to find some time in this offense, and then deliver the football accurately exactly where you want it to go. It sounds impossible. But that's why they get paid the big bucks. And I guarantee you all of this. I don't care if the next week of reports are that McCarthy looks like he's swimming. He's throwing this number of interceptions. Threw another pick 6 in a team period and a blitz period. I don't care. I don't care. I know all of this is for good reason.
Right.
It's going to be the best situation for him. I don't think that he's incompetent. I think that he is just going up against a really, really challenging situation, and a lot is being asked of him. And he has to perform under some high pressure right now. Guaranteed, when it's all said and done, they get into that week of preparation for Chicago, things are going to slow down immensely for him.
At 11 o'clock, we're going to play more audio from JJ's press conference yesterday, but I want to hit you with this. He's talking about the actual play-by-play, almost after every rep coaching he's getting from KO.
You're getting from KO out there. What are those moments like after a rep, good or bad, when he'll pull you off to the side and kind of talk to you in real time?
It's amazing because it eliminates any gray area. I don't have any time to really think about and process, why the outcome went the way it did. But just being able to get that, like you said, live time feedback and being able to really, understand it. Okay, that's the why behind it. Then move on to the next play. It's extremely, extremely huge for sure.
I know this isn't new, Ben, but whether it's the coach himself or now with those camera bits and the little tents they have with the big screen that's showing basically the film as it happens, like the evolution of being able to come immediately over and get coached up on a rep, that's got to be big for him.
Oh, it's got to be huge. I love the technology that they get to have. There's so many, especially when you're seeing things kind of for the first time or maybe haven't seen a lot, and you think it's one thing and all of a sudden it changes into another. We as players, as like older players, had to sort of catalog those in the back of your mind. If that happened at the beginning of practice, like sometimes you forget the exact particulars of what happened. But now they have the technology and obviously the coaching's there along with it. They can look at everything right there. They can see the play over. And the coach, who we all know is an excellent coach, can communicate that to you. So you're like, I don't have to second guess now when I get another situation like that 45 minutes from now. I don't have to make the same mistake. A lot of us had to wait until the next day before you could make that correction.
Wow.
Because if you weren't quite sure how and why you made that mistake in period 3, and then then in period 8, it comes up again, you're like, shoot, like, why did I make that mistake? How can I fix it this time? Now you can correct the mistake right then and there, and then you practice that in the right way the next time it comes up. So all of this technology melding with these coaches taking off, 20 seconds of their time in between plays to be like, nope, this is what you did wrong. This is what you guys see better the next time. It's invaluable.
Does that help from a confidence perspective too? Because and these guys are pros. I mean, this guy understands what he's up against with his defense and all that. But if you're constantly banging your head against the wall with some of these reps over the course of a camp, you wouldn't believe how much easier it's going to get. Iron sharpens iron, one of the best front sevens in the NFL. By the time you get to Monday night, it's going to feel like you're taking those weights off your arms and you're just that much faster and everything's going to click. But in the same sense, maybe rep to rep, that connection or that touch point with KO kind of helps put some perspective in this as struggles maybe continue.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, all of it is so much of that of potential self-doubt comes from just not knowing. You don't know how you did on this rep. You don't know how you performed in this practice in totality. And then if the picture isn't painted clearly, then all of a sudden you're stringing practice upon practice, drill upon drill, day by day, and all of a sudden you're like, man, like what is going on? I'm kind of in a slump or I'm in a rut. With the way that they handle business now in the NFL, it's almost impossible to be in those situations. Not that you can't get into a rut and things just don't work out, but like finding out the why and the how, when that becomes immediate feedback, that's game changer for the psyche of any player.
HOF weekend for Jared Allen.
HOF.
What do you think his speech is going to be like?
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
I can't wait.
It's Saturday night, right?
Saturday, like 1, I think is the ceremony in the afternoon. So I don't know where he's going to be in the lineup. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely going to make sure I fly in Saturday morning. I'm just going to jet right from Cleveland's airport down to Canton as fast as I can.
Wow. That's awesome. You're going.
And then, I'll get into, hopefully I'll see start to finish. I was texting with him a little bit a couple weeks ago, and he was just saying, I don't have a professional speech prepared. He's like, he jokingly is like, I'm just going to go wing it.
Yeah.
And I kind of half believe him.
Yeah.
And half don't.
He'll have bullet points.
I have to think that he's consulted with somebody. Mm-hmm. I have to think that at least the Pro Football Hall of Fame is like, hey, here's a stable of speechwriters and people that you can bounce ideas off of, and they can just kind of refine your speech.
Yeah.
Whether he's taking advantage of that, I don't know.
So will a tear drop his eye or his chin quiver a little bit where, he gets choked up a little bit? If I make the no minus 220, the yes plus, say, 170, which way are you going to go?
Sorry, I'm going the 170.
You're going the yes?
Yeah.
You think that he might blubber a little bit?
Yeah, he's a girl dad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. And he is an emotional guy.
He's an emotional guy.
Right.
Yeah.
You're the best, man. Fire Bullet on TV today. Love
Thank
you very
so much.
And see you next week.
Yeah, have a great
right?
weekend.
That's Ben Leber at Nacho Leber. It's 10:43 at FM 100.3 KFAN, your audio leader for News du Nord.
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home, and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at ipvanish.com/audio.
Which is next.
News du Nord brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park. CanterburyPark.com. Poker, blackjack, and table games all year round. Feeling the felt, live racing and play. A beautiful weekend, it sounds like, upon us as well. So get to CanterburyPark.com. Check out the live racing schedule. You'll have Wednesday evenings, a bunch of Thursdays in the mix. Of course, Saturday evenings, and then family days on Sundays. CanterburyPark.com. I got some NFL, NFC North audio for you momentarily, but let's hit the A topic with the baseball team. Trade deadline is today, right around dinner time, 5, 6 o'clock. And the Twins made a trade yesterday. Duran, your favorite closer, he's off to Philly. And the Twins in return, as Duran becomes a member of the Philadelphia Phillies, a catching prospect, Eduardo Tate. He's regarded as the 4th best prospect in the Phillies system. And then pitcher Mick Abel. He's got 6 years of team control that comes with him to Minnesota. He's the 5th best prospect. Now, other guys potentially in the mix. I saw this. I believe it from Dan Hayes yesterday, kind of noting it sounds like Abel's going to be a AAA guy. The catching prospect, a team that wants catching prospects. That was also part of the Paddock trade earlier a few days ago. Tate goes to single A. There was steam on Carlos Correa. We remember hearing about that. He might be open to heading back to the Houston Astros. Well, Bob Nightingale was the person that reported on that. He was telling friends he'd waive his no trade, go back to Houston, run it all back. They need third base help, and he'd even be open to playing third base. Well, it sounds like things have cooled on that front because the Astros were reportedly asking for the Twins to pay $50 million of the remaining $100 million left on the contract of Carlos Correa. Ooh. And I think they wanted an outfielder as part of the mix as well. The Twins were not interested in any of that. They've sounded like they've kind of stood pat on what they want to do with that.
Yep.
And so as of now, there's no movement there. Other than that, Griffin Jacks, Harrison Bader, we know all the names. The trade deadline, again, is this evening. No other moves, as I've been following it this morning, have happened as of yet. But something to watch out for. And then technically they're still playing baseball. Not today, though. They're at Cleveland tomorrow.
With Duran, or as you said, Duran, live arm.
I just like saying Duran because admittedly, is it Joan? Is it Joanne?
Yeah.
That's
a good question.
I just say Duran.
Yeah, I spent 7 minutes of my life that I'll never get back this morning with the pronunciation bit. And I've seen it and I've heard it and I've said it.
What did you settle in on?
Joanne.
I like Joanne. Let's go with that.
J-O-A-H-N.
I dig it.
From the pronunciation machine. But clearly the Philadelphia Phillies with Mr. Duran were hungry like the wolf for more bullpen help. I don't know. The reflex for them puts a live arm in the bullpen. They might have a nickname for that group and call them the Wild Boys. I'm just hoping here things don't come undone. So if you care, save a prayer for the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, the sentiment on social, at least, super negative on this whole thing. It's ownership group.
If you're in your 50s, you understand every reference that I just dropped right there.
Ownership group's a complete L. And then kind of going back to, like, where do you sit when you think about a couple of years ago? We're not too far removed. They get that 0-18 playoff streak. That thing's dead, right? You win. You beat the Blue Jays in the wild card series.
The stigma.
But there's another end of it too, where they're saying, well, then you gotta get housed in the ALDS, which for the longest time there was no wild card series, best of 3. I mean, we're happy for you that you got off the playoff loss streak schneid.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, it's not like you made a deep run in the Major League Baseball playoffs. Mm-hmm. It's not like you were on the cusp of a World Series. Mm-hmm. Regardless of all that, though, whatever the sentiment is there, kind of mostly on the side of we may have been on to something. That's really the key there. Regardless of how you view that run or lack of, you were on to something. And in less than 2 years, you just took some sticks of dynamite, shoved it underneath it, and blew the whole thing up. If you're a Twins fan right now, cheers to you on being maybe among the most weathered, frustrated, beaten down of sports fans in pro markets, because that's the sentiment I'm getting as they watch some of these names go. I don't necessarily think people should be surprised as things are unfolding the way they are, but in the same sense, it's like 2 years ago we're talking about playoff games and Chris Paddock's playing here, and we had Bombas not too far before that.
Yeah.
And now outside
Piranhas.
Now we're going way back. How about Piranhas with Bartlett and Punto?
Yeah.
Oh, the summer of 06.
Yeah.
I can't remember when Liriano's arm went, but I mean, the combination of Santana and Liriano.
Frankie fastball.
Maybe it was like 9-3, 10-3, something like that. And the 97 mile an hour slider bit. I mean, things were good. They couldn't get over the hump, but now things are negative, and but yes, they're still playing baseball, and that'll take place tomorrow in Cleveland.
In attempting to gravy trap, in following Twins Twitter after all of this took place last night, I just and I don't have to be right here. So if I'm missing something in egregious fashion, for that I apologize. If you are upset at Derek Falvey and the Minnesota Twins for not being buyers at the trade deadline when their ownership group is not settled, I don't see how you possibly could look in the mirror and feel comfortable with your opinion formulating status.
Yeah, and you hit on it a day or two ago as well, where it's just kind of like we've gotten to know or connect with and work with, right, in this business, a lot of people that have been connected to the Twins for a long time. Just think about the unknown. Yeah. I mean, I know that's not wins and losses on the baseball field. Most hardcore Twins rubes maybe don't care about that. I get that. But you're going to the office every day and you're watching the deadline and the team's sellers and not buyers. It's not like the team wanted to be in the spot they are.
Yep.
But they are. But all the same, just kind of the unknown with potential massive changes looming ahead. You think about the Howl, and you get the ownership group finalized with A-Rod and Lori, and now congratulations to Ethan Casson, a good opportunity with the Mavs. I believe it was.
Did he get a job with the Mavs?
I thought I saw he might be the new.
I'm giving him covenant claps. Ethan Casson and Ryan Tanke.
I don't want to attach him to the wrong team, but I'm pretty confident that it was the Mavericks.
Well, Ethan Casson and Ryan Tanke, a couple of executives for the Minnesota Timberwolves, who
president of the Mavs.
Wow, I'm really happy for him. I know Ryan better than Ethan, but both of those guys have been super kind to me over the years. Ryan was the point person who gave me an opportunity to fill in for Alan Horton when he filled in for Michael Grady.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to forget that. So really happy to hear that Ethan has not only landed on his feet, he's landed on his feet with a team that might go to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, and Tank, speaking of contenders in the West, Mr. Tanky, I think COO with the Rockets now.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
That happened a little while before,
to those boys.
Maybe June, but all the same.
I like those boys.
But that's the thing, though, is that change is potentially on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're Derek Falvey, I mean, you're still trying to make plays, and there's a cloud hanging over that situation right there. But,
yeah, well, what I do to recognize, now Buxton's a little nicked up right now.
Yeah, 10-day IL maybe.
Yeah, but you're having a quality season from Byron Buxton, so we can sell that. But we also can look at our roster and recognize who we have in this covenant. If you want to win, if you want to win back some of these fans, then I would take 22% of the money that you don't have to give the Astros for Correa, and I give it to Roger Clemens.
I always love that one.
And I have Roger Clemens Day every single homestand. His kid's on the team, Cody. So we got Cody Clemens playing here, but ladies and gentlemen, I mean, who knew? Roger Clemens is in the building. Baseball immortality.
Could he do something during the stretch, maybe?
Maybe.
I mean, definitely first pitch related things.
Well, you got to start thinking about things like that, but not
BP,
not making it circus like. With Vec and or Bill Murray with the old school St. Paul Saints.
You bring the pig out.
So you got. Well, some say that happened yesterday when they got blown out against the Bo Sox. But anyway, you from a marketing standpoint, you got to start thinking outside of the box a little bit.
Yeah.
Roger Clemens appearance day. Okay, then the next homestand, you invite Mike Piazza in, and you have Clemens and Piazza fight at the seventh inning stretch, like they almost did when they played against each other. That's going to get an extra 10,000 people in the building.
Well, if this thing gets any worse, man, it's like there's going to be a raffle. Hey, manage an inning.
Yeah.
There's nothing off limits right now.
Who wants to call the first pitch?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Now, look, we're going to publicize it's a fastball, and they're going to think it is. Then it's a splitter. So, that's you can call the first pitch. You can shoot. You can... For the right amount of people in the right field bleachers, we'll let you run the bullpen that night.
Yeah.
You get to choose who comes in first. I hope it doesn't come to that, but
you get to set the lineup.
I'm not. You know me as well as anybody, man. You know I'm not a best ever or worst ever kind of guy, or a no chance or every chance. I just making the postseason. I'm not even thinking about the lineup or the injuries or anything. I'm thinking about the distraction-related vibe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, what have they lost? Did they get meatloafed against the Red Sox or swept? Is one of the two.
I thought they won the first one.
Okay, so they got meatloafed.
Yeah,
2 out of 3 ain't bad. Things like this, man, they blossom, they flower, they boom into 10-game losing streaks.
Yep.
So you just got to be very careful with what's happening right now.
Let me do this. I have some audio, and I want to play Graham Glasgow. He plays on the offensive line for the Detroit Lions. Here he is at camp.
Shake up in the interior. The fact that this situation, this current arrangement, will give you the best opportunity to do that with you at center and Tate at right and Christian at left.
kind of confused about the question.
Just the idea that you guys,
No, I think we'll be fine. I mean, I think we have a lot of good defensive players we're going to be playing this year, but I think that we're going to, we're working hard, we're doing our thing, and our defense is giving us a good look too. Those guys are good, so I think that we get better out here every day, and I think that things will take care of themselves.
Now, here's what's interesting about that, though, and we had talked about this when looking at, specifically with Tate Ratledge, the former Georgia Dog, and what they expect out of him to be the center. Based on how that question was framed, and again, I didn't know what the purpose of the question was until Graham just kind of took it and started talking.
Yep. And the Christian they're mentioning is Christian Mahogany.
Yeah, former BC Cat, right?
I don't know where he went to college, but I'm pretty sure he was drafted in 2024.
So and he was a guy like O-lineman of the day fashion we had looked at. Now, with that said, though, it is something to be interested in. Are they potentially in practice actively using Glasgow at center, the rookie at right guard, and then Mahogany at left guard? That'd be kind of, because then that lends to the idea that they've already kind of looked at this situation and gone, kid ain't ready for it.
Yeah.
And so are they potentially then going to switch?
So Zeitler's no longer on the team.
Zeitler's not in the mix, no.
Wow, so they're going to be, wow.
Yeah.
When you formulated that Lions opinion the other day, I honestly thought you were grandstanding a little bit. And it's not saying that you're lacking authenticity with any of your takes. I just thought that you were taking a 4.5 and making it a 7.5 or an 8 about potentially a precipitous fall for the Lions.
Sure.
The closer we get to this thing, and there's so much reliance from the Lions, and then yours truly, I've shared it too, on Aiden Hutchinson's return. Just absolutely, that fixes all problems.
And it's going to work perfectly.
Yep. We're going to have 18.5 sacks. He's going to be completely fine.
Yeah.
Well, Branch and Kirby Joseph are badasses, so they got those two back there. I keep hearing how much Jack Campbell has improved. I think it'll be third year from Iowa now. I like Jack Campbell. I've never loved him. His rookie year, they gave him a chance. He was a disaster. They had to lay off him. He got better against the run last year. I still think you can throw all day on him. That's at least what I've been told at certain stages of last year. So the pass rush from the opposite side of Aleem McNeil, I think will require a blitz. From Aiden Hutchinson. Now, Aleem McNeil, he's going to miss the first part of the season. Aleem's a badass. They got my guy Roy Lopez from Arizona, who is underrated, but he's not a 10 sack a year guy.
Right. They need Marcus Davenport to actually play games.
Good luck with that. But so now you get to the other side, which is the identity of the team, and it just keeps stacking here, man.
It does.
It's okay. So Goff is going to start OTAs and training camp with Tate Ratledge, the rookie from Georgia, who never played center for the Bulldogs. Well, that didn't work. So now they're going to put him at his true position, right guard. But they thought they didn't want to use Glasgow at center in the first place.
Right.
That's why they started the rookie and they had Glasgow at right guard. In 2018, they drafted Frank Ragnow, and he's a center by trade, but they wanted to use Glasgow at center. So Ragnow started 15 games at left guard. Things worked so whateverly, you can say poorly, but whateverly with Glasgow at center. Well, Ragnow became the 2019 center, and Glasgow either was a guard or he left and went to Denver.
Yep.
And then he comes back. So now you got, the Zeitler bit was playing left and right guard. I mean, we're talking about a 13, 14-year veteran here. So, they had to get younger in the spot. But now Christian Mahogany. And they like Mahogany, but at least that's what I heard last year. But that's new. Center new. Right guard new. Coordinator new. Quarterbacks coach new. Passing game coordinator new. Holy cow. We got Jameer. Yeah, we got David. Yeah, we got Sam. Yeah, we got Amon. Yeah, you do. But I mean, there's a lot that goes into cohesiveness of repetition with equity and or experience in super hot moments.
Yeah.
And there are going to be some pitfalls for this team potentially early in the season. You may, I mean, when you went under on their season wins total and went under by like 1, 2, or 3 games.
Yeah, I think the total's at 10.5.
Yeah. I was like, really, they're going to go 8 and 9? I don't think they will, but it's not as far-fetched as I thought when you unfurled it last week. The con.
No, I just think Dan Campbell's going to have them ready to rock every single week.
Yeah.
But it does sound like there is room, and there's an area here where there could be massive mistakes on a weekly basis with a kid being raised on the fly.
Yep.
A center that they haven't wanted to use at center on 2 different occasions.
Yep.
Now playing center. Injuries across the defensive line with Aleem McNeil on Wuzurike. Not that he was a game changer, but that's depth that's no longer going to be in the mix with the knee. Amidst all of the coaching changes, man, I think it's stacked against them with the first place schedule and everything included.
Fade the music, fire up 9 to noon. Let's, for 7 more minutes, make this the marathon courtesy of Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com. stevesappliances.com. Sarah, Brian, love you. And thank you for the assistance with Alec Lewis for the Friday football feasts, not only including tomorrow, but when we are at Buffalo Wild Wings Oakdale on September 8th. Alec will be doing at least 2 hours of every single show, courtesy of Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com. If like Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions in a Sunday night football game against the Houston Texans, and they won the game. The kid walked off. The kicker walked off. Bates, I think his last name is. Very emotional moment, but that was not a great offensive performance.
Right.
So the high-flying Lions have had some middling, or as the kids would say, offense mid-dog. They've had some middling performances. But Ben Johnson is the coordinator, and Aaron Glenn is the defensive coordinator. Unless you just want to complain to complain, I don't recall those two really, really publicly getting bashed or getting bashed by columnists or the Detroit Free Press is all over them, stuff like that. If, like Johnson has to go. Glenn has to go. Yeah. Ben's in way over his head. Aaron, you were a good player, but whatever. That didn't happen. Well, now with John Morton and see, they used to have a wide receiver named Johnny Morton, so I think it's a different guy.
Oh, I had to go find multiple sites to verify exactly who John Morton was, and that it was not the former wideout Johnny Morton.
Correct.
I went through that too.
Yeah, but that's okay. At least you didn't walk up to a coaching intern named Drew Coleman and call him Brian Flores.
I always love that one.
But 3-2. So John Morton and whomever the defensive coordinator is, I don't even know the guy's name yet. If things are wonky early in the season and they pay attention and listen, watch,
Calvin Shepard,
or hear, oh, wow, the former Jet. I think he played for the Lions too, but I think
37-year-old.
I think he used to play for the New York Jets. Damn, I thought he was a receiver. Okay. 3-2. But Charlie Fry is on the Viking staff, and he's a former quarterback, and he's on the defensive staff, which is kind of cool. But anyway, they just have to be prepared. Dan Campbell, the CEO, he's good in situations like this, defusing things, that ancillary distraction-related stuff. He's just been very good at that over the years because he's so raw and so honest and so authentic with the way he approaches things. But these coordinators, if things don't go the way they are expected to go with the Detroit Lions production, then they're going to get smashed. And then they'll get smashed locally. They'll get smashed on social media. Not, really like that's a life changer. It shouldn't be. But these kids pay attention to it. They say they don't, but they do. But see, then you'll have like First Take. So, it's NFL Network, ESPN, whatever. They're on in cafeterias all around the NFL. I think you're like John Morton or Calvin Shepard, and you walk in there, and it's like, what's wrong with the Lions defense? Well, now they're going to look over left shoulder, right shoulder, super early in the morning. Turn up the volume. What are they saying? And then Dan or Jared or Amon-Ra St. Brown walk in, quickly hit mute. Oh, what are you? I was getting breakfast. So distractions.
And that's because they're the darlings of the NFL right now.
Yes.
And they've earned it.
And these guys are new, and we're talking about that interior of the offensive line for the identity of that football team. Do I think it will work? Mostly. Would I bet the over 10.5? No. But the second layer of this is it used to be Green Bay has made us its proverbial whipping post for far too long. So we're going to come in here with this final game of the season, Sunday Night Football at Lambeau Field a few years ago, and we're going to knock those suckers out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And we're going to punch them in the face, and they're going to know that who hit them, and when we hit you, you stay hit. Then the next season, you're doing the same thing again. Well, that's cool. You found a way to beat the Vikings. You found a way to beat the Packers. What about finding a way to get to the Super Bowl with this nice roster? That's what the fans are looking at.
Yeah.
Is we're close. But when you have change like that with the identity of your team, and it's the Motor City Moving Company protecting the quarterback and all that kind of stuff, and you have new coordinators and coaches, if it doesn't get off to a fast start, they better be careful, because distractions from outside potentially could leak into the Covenant.
Well, I agree, and that's kind of what led me down this path. And maybe this is a bad parallel. What about 2018, first year with Kirk, after you go to the NFC title game?
Yep.
DiFilippo. So you adjust whether it was, Kubiak came later, but it wasn't it Peaches? It was Shermer. And you think about what you got out of that offense with Case Keenum.
Shermer became head coach of the Giants.
Yes. And then, but out of the gates, you get the win over the Niners. That was Jimmy G's debut. That was Mike Hughes before there was a practice field named after him with the pick six.
Yeah.
Then it's the tie at Lambeau, and a kicker
Carlson
is cut.
Wow.
But then you come out of the gates. There was some weird off-field stuff, I believe, with Everson into the Bills game. You lose like 20-something-6, if you remember that game. Like, I know it's different because different circumstances, and Zimmer fires DiFilippo in season, but it kind of felt like at times when Kirk was high, the good Kirk moments, it's like, okay, this is what we expected. But any deviation from that, and specifically with the offense in totality, which sputtered at times, it was instantly, are you kidding me with the OC right now? Like, this is what we've been kind of, we've devolved into in some ways.
Yep.
And that's heavy to carry in the season, as much as you can try and pretend that you're not paying attention to that.
Yep.
And for a squad that, frankly, they're coming off of, as tough as the 9 sacks were for us against the Rams, with them to get punched in the face like they did by Washington last year, and Jane Daniels doing that thing at Ford Field.
Yeah, you're right.
And you come back.
And they got beaten up. That's a great way to put it.
And they absolutely got hammered in that game.
Right.
And Goff running for his freaking life. And then you come back, and what if you lose the opener to the Pack? I know they've had the Packers number for a couple of years, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it's like 6-1 the last 7.
Jordan Love and a talented potential double-digit win team has the right to win opening day.
Right.
What if they take that L?
Right.
That is going to be heavy for Mr. Shepard and Mr. Morton and more so, Dan Campbell.
I think the next week they're at the Ravens.
Great.
If they get the Ravens somewhere in those first 3.
They're going to win 5 games.
And
now that is grandstanding. I'm kidding.
Well, see, when you hear players or coaches, and I agree with them, when you're trying to talk about other players, other teams, stuff like that, it's whether I'm doing X's and O's with O'Connell or a player interview or whatever, they'll listen to it, and they can respond because they have elite answers about all players and teams around the league, but they'll bring it back to, it's about us. It's not about what they do. It's about us imposing our will and finding a way to win this game. Sure, Lamar's fast. Sure, Joe's cool. Sure, they got all those rings, the team in the green.
Yeah.
It's about us. And I agree with that. However, when it comes to about us in this conversation, you better find a way to start beating these Lions. And I'm not even ashamed to say that with copyright Doogie. It's the Lions.
Well, I think Ben Johnson has found something specifically against Flores. Now, Flores is super high end, but there were some bits. There's a confidence and a momentum side to this game.
Yeah.
And I look, it was the long Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown where he's kind of running that deep post. Mm-hmm. And he found him. We're inverting our corners.
Yep.
Into safety spots and bringing I think it was either Metellus or Bynum.
Yeah,
they kind of got
Bynum
caught.
Made a mistake.
He kind of got caught in no man's land, and Amon-Ra was just there for the touchdown. Or the one you get Khalif Raymond running across the field. We got Stephon Gilmore. Old people have a right to trip, and then Raymond heads into the end zone. It just kind of felt like Ben Johnson kind of knew Flores's bits, or he had that momentum at least. as we've struggled with them in the last couple seasons.
Okay, and I'm not going to argue vociferously with you, but my recall for that L at the Motor City is pretty strong because it was an emotional game. And it was just one where the details of it just stick with me.
We're talking week 18, prime time, everything's on the line, and we can't score in the red zone.
It's the most hyped ballyhooed regular season game in the history of the National Football League. I can't remember exactly what the score was at halftime, but it was like 9-6 them. Okay, it was. They didn't have a lot of points. Flores' defense had Goff confused badly for the first quarter and a half of the game. So there may have been some things that transpired in the second half. That game was lost for one reason and one reason only.
Yeah, it was 10-6 at the break.
It was 10-6?
Yeah.
Because Darnold, as Sauce would say, est his peas. That's the 10 of 10 reason they lost that game. Previous games, there are times that Johnson, via whatever coordinator, made plays. And, the fan has learned they have some pretty high-end skill guys all over the place, and especially Jamison Williams and how good he's becoming. But in that individual game, one of the biggest games for a lot of people playing in the game, Flores' group brought it. They brought it long enough to win the game.
I'd agree.
Because you ain't going to keep that group down to 6, 7, 9, 13 points in a situation like that at home many times.
Right.
But it was, and by the way, it's, these players and coaches know that what's happened to Sam. Holy cow, he is who they said he was. I ran the right route. I protected fine. I was open. And he just kept missing and missing and missing and missing and missing.
Yeah, 0-3 I think it was goal to go. We were inside the 10, 0-3, 0-4 in the red zone. And I wonder how much of it, because it got away. It was 10-6, and then I think it was 17-9 or something like that after 3.
Yeah, it was over middle of the third quarter.
I think we may have just taken our ball and gone home mentally. Right. Maybe at that point.
Well, it's frustrating.
Because then Gibbs had 4 touchdowns in that game. All he does is score.
Man, I
don't know how many multiple TD games he has with us in just his 2 or 3 years in the league.
I think he had 7 against us last year.
Come on, man.
He had 7 or 8 touchdowns against the Vikings last year.
Gibbs is too good.
So that has to stop. Yeah, you got to beat the Lions. And it's not, like I said, I'm not even ashamed to say that because the Lions have been good now for a little bit. And low key, I kind of like the Lions.
So I have. And I think it's fair to bring up that game because I was so focused on the one with us at US Bank Stadium.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the finale.
No, and in the end, Ivan Pace gets the defensive touchdown. You're in the lead. You have the lead in that game.
Yeah, you're in the chat.
And you just couldn't find a way to stop him late.
Yeah, because Ben was in his bag.
Speaking of late, we gotta pause here, my friend.
Break time, 11:18. You're listening to FM 100.3 KFAN.
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at IPVanish.com/audio.